بس من ولا تسوي وايد زوم خشمي. Dear guests, welcome to the UAE Pavilion at COP28. We would like to bring to your attention that the following session will be broadcasted via live stream on our channels. We seek your kind support and mindfulness during the presentations. Thank you for understanding and enjoy the session.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mangrove Effective Natural-Based Solution Forum. My name is Nahla Nubi, and I will be your host for the day. Today, we are gathered to collect a purpose to champion the cause of mangrove ecosystem, to protect and expand their vital presence on our planet. As we unite in this common goal, we recognize that mangroves are not just a unique facet in our natural world. They are a lifeline, providing critical ecological services and playing an essential role in mitigating the impact of climate change. Before diving into our discussion, I would like to, it's my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Al-Hammadi, Assistant Undersecretary of Biodiversity and Marine Life Section.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Distinguished guests, esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's an honor to be with you on the concluding day of the 28th United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties, COP28, here in the United Arab Emirates. As we are gathered this afternoon to highlight one of the nature's most powerful allies in the compete against climate change, the mangrove. and the national roadmap toward 100 million mangroves, I will take the opportunity to highlight that the UAE recognizes the crucial role of mangroves, which play an important role in climate adaptation and mitigation by serving as natural carbon sinks. In fact, the UAE has announced its ambition to plant 100 million mangroves by 2030. This commitment is not just a numerical number, but a strategic initiative to achieve net zero by 2050, and highlights our focus on leveraging nature-based solutions to address environmental challenges. We see such initiative as having a great global impact. That's why we have launched a global partnership known as Mangrove Alliance for Climate, MAC, seeking to accelerate the conservation, restoration, and plantation efforts of mangrove ecosystem worldwide. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, with great pride, we are excited to announce that we are going to establish the International Center for Mangrove Research in partnership with Republic of Indonesia. It's one of the important international initiatives aiming at conservation of mangrove habitats, ensuring the sustainability of their ecological services, supporting the blue economy, and contributing to the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2030. We firmly believe that our actions today will shape the future of our generations, and we are committed to exploring every pathway to secure a greener future. As we stand on the end of the conclusion of the COP28, let us embrace the power of nature-based solutions and, in particular, the incredible potential of mangroves. Our national roadmap toward 100 million mangroves is a commitment to the well-being of our planet and future generations. Let this panel discussion act as a driving force for protective measurements, a forum for cooperative efforts, and a guiding light, inspiring optimism for sustainable and resilient future. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. So our next session promised to be insightful, and I'm pleased to introduce Maithil Meheri, who will guide us on our distinguished guests.
Thank you, Nahla, and good day, everyone. So our panel today, we will discuss, as said, the vital and important initiative, which is planting 100 million mangroves. So we will focus on the roadmap of this initiative. So please welcome with me our esteemed panelist, His Excellency Ahmed Al-Hashimi, the head of Marine Life Section, the Executive Director of Terrestrial and Marine Biodiversity at Environmental Agency Abu Dhabi. Please. Joining us as well is Hamda Al-Asli, the Head of Marine Life Section at the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment. And we are honored to have Ms. Tatiana Abelle, the Founder and Managing Director of Gombuk Social Enterprise. Please. And lastly, David Ramos, the Acting Head of Sustainability at HSBC Middle East. Please. So thank you all for being here, and we will go direct into our discussion. First of all, let us explore the initiative itself. Why planting 100 million mangrove, and what is the roadmap toward 2030? So Ms. Hamda, I will direct this question to you.
Thank you, Metha. To begin with, it's crucial to understand that the UAE has diverse blue carbon ecosystems that serve as nature-based solutions, including seagrass meadows, salt marshes, and coral reefs. And among these solutions, mangrove trees hold significant importance due to their ability to thrive in our challenging climate. Moreover, the carbon sinks in the form of mangrove trees can contribute to both mitigation and adaptation. They mitigate climate change because they capture carbon dioxide through photosynthesis and therefore reduce the emissions in the atmosphere. Actually, the latest studies found that the carbon sink in forms of mangroves can reach to 4 to 5 times higher than that of tropical forests. They also support adaptation as they strengthen the coastline and support wildlife protection by providing breeding ground for marine biodiversity and for around 80% of global fisheries. Therefore, mangrove positively contributing in biodiversity conservation. The UAE has been actually always aware of the importance of mangrove ecosystems. In the 70s, the late Sheikh Zayed, the founding father of the UAE, understood the importance and the great value of mangrove trees. He initiated massive forestation programs that contributed to the number of mangrove trees in the UAE nowadays, making the UAE one of the largest countries in mangrove trees in the Arabian Gulf region. Building on this legacy, in 2021, specifically at COP26, the UAE has announced its ambitious target of mangrove plantation by increasing the target from 30 million to 100 million by 2030, which will enable mangrove trees in the UAE to sequester around 115,000 of carbon annually, which will support the objectives of the UAE net zero by 2050 strategic initiative. Now, in regards to the roadmap, in order to ensure the implementation of the project in a sustainable way and to get a healthy mangrove ecosystem, we have worked on a comprehensive plan that is being implemented in cooperation between the ministry and the environmental local authorities in each emirate, and also with our partners from both private and government sector.
Thank you, Hamda. Indeed, these are magnificent efforts that has been done. And you mentioned that local entities are doing their best with regards to planting mangrove. So, Your Excellency, I'll direct the next question to you. Is, as Environmental Agency Abu Dhabi, what is your role in this initiative and what efforts has been done so far with regarding mangrove plantation?
Thank you, Metha. Mangroves is the treasure that we have it. The God gave it to us, and we are lucky in United Arab Emirates. You will never find any emirate from the 7 emirates that we have that they have what we call it the lung of the mid of the city. So each emirate, they have a mangroves that play an important and vital role to protect our environment, to enhance the air quality, and to provide all the services that we have. I remember one of the first research I worked in during my studies in the environmental field, it was mangroves. And I was shocked about the information that I have. I know that I live close to the mangroves. I've seen these habitats. We enjoy our time. I have my own kayak and every day I'm going there. However, when I search about the uses of the mangroves, it's much more than what we expect. As environmentalists and researchers, we said, okay, this is an important, vital tree that we need to protect. However, in the past, they understand it very well because they have many uses. So an example, the leaves of the mangroves, they used to feed it for the livestock. Until now, there are some areas where they brought the camels to feed on those leaves. and this is part of the natural cycle. The wood of the mangroves, I don't want to say it to encourage the businesses, but they are one of the best quality. In the past, they used to build also the furnitures and to use it in many uses, and much more, fishing. And I remember one of the research we did is to study the breeding fish in mangroves, where we put the nets and then we study and caught the fish from the low and high tide. And we surprised about the amount of fish exists there. The commercial fish species, not even the one that we are not feed on. So they are an important role for us. Less maintenance with our area in Arabian Peninsula, with the challenge of the water. For mangroves, you just need to plant them and leave it for the God. Leave it for itself, it will grow up. They have an incredible ways of tolerate with the salts. So if you go to any mangroves, and we have in UAE one species, which is the gray mangrove, Avicenna marina, if you look underneath the leaves, you will find those white small crystals. They are the salts. So they have the ability to absorb the salts. The first layer to protect the salts is the roots. If not, they go to the physiology of the plant and then they secrete it. And with the high and low tides, they start to tolerate the salinity. So they are incredible species. And as my colleague mentioned that our founder of the country, late Sheikh Zayed, he understands the importance of these trees. And since that time, in 60s, so imagine even before we have a country, official country, we start to plant mangroves. And currently, we compared the area that we used to have in the past 50 years, and they are increased by 92% by the efforts that we are doing, by the conservation that we have. So we protect them. In Abu Dhabi, we have 6 marine protected areas. We have rangers, we have researchers to assure that they are received a well care. We continued our studies. So we started with the eco-services evaluation. And you will not believe that eco-services evaluation, if you want to count it, it's priceless. This is the answer, priceless. Never try to evaluate it. Millions, 100 millions of US dollars that they provided to you. But we are not feel it very well. And this is the things that I want to highlight it today. We don't feel the nature because we are disconnected from nature. In the past, they are very well connected, they appreciate it, and then they protect it. So nowadays, what we are always encouraged is to have an eco-tourism projects. In Abu Dhabi, in the Mangrove National Park, we are encouraging to have eco-tourism activities with different ways. We permit them, we assure they are doing it in a sustainable way. However, without all of this, then you will start to lose the importance of the mangrove. I want to highlight one of the stories of one of the private company called Yibiab. I'm not sure if a representative is here. However, they are a local company where they used to produce honey, but from cedar and samar. And I remember I had a meeting with them. They have a proposal. They said, we want to produce the honey, this time from mangroves. And it's challenging because to have a pure honey, you need to assure your bees are feeding on the right flowers and not mixing them with the different species. So we allocate the area for them. And I remember I asked him, what is the best honey in the world? And he told me there is an international competition happened in UK. And every year, the honey beekeepers from Saudi Arabia, they win because they have very good quality of honey from samar and cedar. And the surprise happened after 1 year of producing the mangrove honey, they participated and then they won the Platinum Award. To win in this competition is not easy. It is a laboratory test. So they have a lot of criteria. You need to produce a certificate. So there are many uses that encourage us to protect the habitats. In the last 10 years, we focus on the blue carbon. So Abu Dhabi, through a GD, worked to establish what we called Blue Carbon Toolkit. It's a toolkit that let you know how to evaluate the amount of the carbon in a systematic way. And the surprise happened that the mangroves able to sequester much more carbon from other species and also from some of the tropical trees. So the values start to increase and increase and increase. Therefore, we are working very hard to protect them, conserve them, and assure proper restoration. Some people will ask why you are continuing to do restoration while you have a good species. Although we have a great mangroves area, still in some area you will find some mortality for many reasons. Age could be one reason, water circulation, some diseases. Therefore, we need to assure that we have a great restoration work. And what we do in Environment Agency Abu Dhabi, we assure in the last years that we've never trying to expand any new areas for mangroves. We are focusing on our area. We target where we need to plant them by using advanced technology, by using drones, in order to identify the suitable site for planting, because this is the key of the successful projects and restoration. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That was very amazing and great efforts done. I noticed that you have talked about personal experience and how to connect with nature. So the role of individuals and communities, which brings me to Ms. Tatiana. So as an enabler in the community, so how do you engage stakeholders to be part of this initiative?
Thank you very much. At Gumbuk, we started back in 2009, raising awareness about the local environment. We felt that there was so much to learn about the relationship of humans and the land here, being the desert or the coastal part, and somehow the population being mostly made of expats, there was a missing link understanding the impact of being in the UAE. And nature was misunderstood. So that's where we decided to create specific programs to connect with nature and understand how alive the desert is and how precious is the coastline. So we first started with the GAF tree, the UAE national tree. We were taking people out in the desert to understand the value of the tree, the link to the local heritage. And suddenly we engaged so much with the community that we started receiving requests to plant 1 million GAF trees. And that's where we said, no, that would actually have a negative impact on the environment, on the underground water. But there is another tree that can be planted without needing to be irrigated, and that actually has very big benefits in terms of climate action. And climate action has become a topic, I would say, rather new. We talk about climate action in the UAE for the past 5 years, maybe in a very active way. And not many people actually had ever seen mangroves, even though, as you were saying, they are everywhere in the 7 Emirates. In Dubai, they are at the back of Business Bay, but people don't realize what that tree is and the importance of that tree. So again, we saw the importance of awareness, bringing people to the mangroves and telling them the story of the mangroves, how populations were able to thrive on the coastline thanks to them, to feed their animals, to even sometimes drink some of the water thanks to the desalination process of the mangroves, or give some water to their animals. At the same time, how it protects the coastline, how it can be used to improve fisheries, again, to the support of the local communities. We have to remember how many thousands of fishermen we have in the UAE that depend on fisheries. And so it was important to create that circle on life in this region. Yes, connected to the desert, but connected to the coastline, and at the end, the importance of preserving it. So we started planting more and more mangroves to raise awareness with schools, with universities, with companies. And this is where we join forces with the Ministry of Climate Change, supporting also the national strategy on sequestration to bring more awareness, but also to empower companies to support the pledge of planting 100 million mangroves. Recently, we've partnered with the Global Mangrove Alliance, so we're the first members in the GCC. We want to somehow bring their knowledge, their expertise, but at the same time, and I really want to highlight this, export what we have here in the UAE and in the region. All the data also that is around mangroves is international data. And there's a lack of data from the region. And we were together in an event at the beginning of COP, and we got these very interesting questions like, what is there to protect here from a marine point of view? And I remember our faces, we were shocked. We were like, what do you mean, what's there to protect? And that's where we went into a 10 minutes, a highlight of all the different species, talking about having the biggest populations of humpback dolphins, whale sharks, second biggest population in the world of dugongs, and everyone was really marveled at this data. And this is where we realized that more needs to be shared. We need to bring together the different stakeholders, create more collaboration, more partnerships, and at the same time, highlight what we're doing here. And this is also the reason why we launched the MENA Ocean Network. Starting from the UAE, we're bringing together the different players from Saudi, from all the GCC countries, all the way up to Morocco, to hopefully create a very strong database on the work being done here by one of the biggest environmental agencies in the world to support protection, conservation, and restoration.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tatiana. That was very insightful. And thank you for the awareness programs you're giving. So awareness program also are giving to companies, as I've heard. So this brings us to Mr. David. As a private entity, what is your role in these kind of initiatives?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me here. I think my role, or the role of a financial institution like HSBC, goes beyond the one of a private entity. There are many companies that are in the UAE already using philanthropic funds to support all the efforts of the Ministry and the Environment Agency to plant trees. Also raise awareness, as Tatiana was saying, among the employees, among schools, and those initiatives, they are really, really important for the country. So we really encourage this to continue. However, obviously, being from a big global bank, I have to talk a little bit about how we can scale this up, what is the role of finance, of the financial institutions on this, and how we can support the country to scale this up. And being a bank, I need to bring a few numbers, unfortunately. Hope it's not too boring, but there is, I had a few figures in here that I like to repeat because they are quite impactful. So at a global level, $40 trillion of economic value, they are depending on nature. That's half of the world's output completely. So we do depend on nature to be able to operate. In terms of the finance gap that we have to protect nature, we know that we need $8 trillion between now and 2050 to be able to tackle the biodiversity loss crisis that we have now. Right now, there is 154 million going every year. So that amount needs to be double and probably even quadruple by 2030 if we want to reach the target of $8 trillion. Even if we look down to coastal ecosystems and all of that, only a very small amount, only 9% of those $150 million go to coastal ecosystems. So there is a huge gap of money going from private capital or any kind of source to restoring coastal ecosystems. And this is the gap that we are trying to support and cover with our initiatives. Obviously, many of you might be aware that we've been supporting a restoration program with Emirates Nature for the several years and a few others at a global level. But the reality is that we need more finance going into nature restoration and nature protection. And why is it not flowing? Why is this money not flowing? Because bankers don't understand the value of nature. It's very easy to put a price to a building and then finance it. but it's very difficult to put a price tag to an ecosystem because of the complexity of the interactions between the ecosystem, different elements. So it's very difficult for financial institutions to have an asset, an underlying asset that we can really rely our investments upon. So this is something that we're trying to work on. We've, at the global level, again, we've worked this year through an organization that is called the Sustainable Markets Initiative, and we've worked with the Mangrove Breakthrough from the high-level champions. So we're supporting them in their objectives of protecting 15 million hectares by 2030 and mobilizing $4 billion for that. So the way we support it is by bringing the voice of financial institutions to this conversation to try to really make understand that there is a gap as well, not only on financing, but also on understanding how can we actually cover that gap, how can we actually help banks mobilize that money. And there is a guide that I would encourage everybody to download and look at, because it really highlights what are the mechanisms that banks have available to really increase the amount of money going into this.
Thank you very much. This was very insightful, and for bringing on these challenges. Unfortunately, I would love to go deeper into this discussion, but we're running out of time. So thank you everyone for being here. If I may, I will hand back to Ms. Nahla for her closing remarks. Maybe we can have a discussion overall when we're closing. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
I would like to thank all our speakers and guests. We would love to hear more, hopefully in more conversation. Before we leave, we'd like to take a photo.